Well, mainly because these sex abuse survivors will never have their day in court and their abuser will never have to pay for what he did. But it also brings up a bigger issue, how gender may play a role in the final outcome of these cases.
Mixed reaction, right? Because when I represent people, and so this is an acknowledgement of what they've been through.
Because this criminal case will never go to trial, attorney Ven Johnson, who represents 25 sex abuse survivors, many former high-profile U of M athletes, consider a $490 million settlement a victory. Nearly $500 million awarded to more than 1,000 victims of Dr. Robert Anderson. They deserve justice. But should they have received more? A mass amount of young people at the time, athletes like what happened with Larry Nassar at Michigan State, but they were awarded a lot more money. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? And what is the reason behind it?
Honestly, women versus men. I'll call it a reverse psychology situation. It's important to think about, and that's why I think it is what it is and how it took as long as it did.
Johnson points to larger settlements from other universities and colleges which have gone through similar sex abuse scandals, but they also happened more recently. It's also why Dr. Anderson's accusers were unable to testify in court. Tad DeLuca, who says he was sexually abused when he was on the wrestling team from 1970 to 1976, is still struggling.
Dr. Anderson is dead. Larry Nassar's still around.
Yes,
You're
but
a little older than some of the Nassar victims.
so I've lived with it for 50 years. A
lot of these men wanted to move on. Like, they're my age, Charlie. They're, 55. The younger guys are, and there's some women, but mostly guys. The youngest are 45, and they go up to 75.
Like DeLuca, many feel it's more than money. Universities like U of M must do more to get rid of the stigma of sex abuse, especially for men who are less likely to report what happened. 30 of the $490 million has been set aside for victims yet to come forward.
If you want to read statistics, read about the difference between men and women who gets abused more. Men do, but they can't deal with that, so you never hear about that.
Something Johnson believed Dr. Anderson relied on. But the civil case is not over. The money still needs to be allocated to the survivors. Just like in the Nassar case, a third party will have to interview each victim, even those who want to stay anonymous, using the severity of their abuse to determine how much they will receive.
How do you process that and answer that question if you've never, ever really had to deal with it or thought about dealing with it? So now you have to.
Yes, and sadly, each victim has to relive their abuse during the interview with the allocator before they can receive any part of the settlement, a grueling and emotional process that is expected to take several months. Huel?
And Taryn, you can hear that emotion in their voices. It took a long time and a lot of courage for these survivors to get this far.
Absolutely, and many hope that it will be worth it and it will continue to bring change. U of M President Sue Coleman backing this settlement, hoping it will improve support for survivors and policy changes will stop something like this from happening again.